Hey everybody, welcome back to Prescription Bourbon. I'm DMC from Louisville, Kentucky. Today I'm doing a quick head-to-head challenge between two iconic bottle and bond straight rye whiskeys. Alright, the two bottles I have in this challenge today are Old Overholt Bonded Rye Whiskey and Rittenhouse Bottle and Bond Rye Whiskey. So both of these iconic brands are pretty commonly used in making mixed drinks, primarily I would think. Rittenhouse Rye is certainly a favorite of a lot of mixologists around the country, making cocktails, bartenders and such. Alright, so Old Overholt is considered the oldest brand of whiskey in the United States that's still being made. It says on the bottle since 1810. This did start out in Pennsylvania, but it's now owned by Jim Beam and made in Kentucky. The mash bill is not known, although it is considered to be a barely legal rye, which means just 51% rye and the rest corn and barley. Rittenhouse was also started in Pennsylvania. Not nearly as old as Old Overholt. It was started right after Prohibition in 1934 by the Continental Distilling Company in Philadelphia. And they kept making it up until the 80s. They eventually went out of business in the 80s, and it was bought by Heaven Hill. So now it's made here in Kentucky. So this is also a barely legal rye with 51% rye in its mash bill and the rest corn and barley. So even though these both came from Pennsylvania, they are both considered what Maryland style ryes, which the Maryland, there used to be the Pennsylvania style and the Maryland style ryes back in the 1800s. And the Maryland style had corn in the mash bill. And the Pennsylvania ryes were a lot more rye and, very high ryes. And the Maryland style did have corn. So these would be considered Maryland style ryes. Alright, so I've got these in a couple glasses here. Got them mixed up. I really don't know which one's which. But I'm going to go through, give them a nose, give them a taste, and call this glass A on your left. It definitely has some sweetness on the taste and has some sweetness on the aroma also. Picking up a little bit of rye on the aroma, which I often describe as a baked bread smell. In this case, baked bread as opposed to yeasty bread. But yeah, definitely sweet. Has some spice on the back of the mouth, a little bit in the throat, a little bit of warmth going down. Yeah, very enjoyable sip. So, glass B. Alright, so that one has a little bit more spice in the mouth, warmth going down. Probably a little bit warmer than Sensation than A was, but definitely spicier. I am getting what I would describe as a yeasty bread smell on this one, so more of a baked bread smell. And more sweet on the nose on A. And more of a yeasty bread smell on B. So, I mentioned that these are pretty popular with bartenders and stuff. And I'll admit, I've had multiple bottles of Rittenhouse rye over the last several years, and I really don't ever drink it straight. I use it for cocktails, so it's always on my bar, but it's often used in old fashions and Manhattans. I don't drink Manhattans myself very often, but when guests ask for it, I will often reach for the Rittenhouse. Now this Old Overholt, I'd bought it about 2 years ago, and really haven't done anything with it. I don't think I might have made a cocktail or two with it, but I've really been sipping on it. And I know I did a bottle and bond bourbon challenge, last year, where I went through a bunch of bottle and bond bourbons, and this one really didn't get into that challenge because it's rye. So it's kind of just been sitting around, and I've been sipping on it occasionally. And I do know that this one I find fairly sweet. I don't know if it was sweet when I first cracked it or not, but lately when I've been drinking it, I always find this pretty sweet. This is definitely sweeter. Definitely has the sweet on there. Has the spice. There is some oak presence there also. But the spice is not just the cinnamon spice, but there's some other baking spices in there, like perhaps clove or something like that. So pretty pleasant, but the spice is all on the back of the tongue and the back of the mouth. So the sweet's up front, the spice in the back. I do enjoy that sip. Class B is definitely spicier, and it has it definitely has some oak in there. It has some cinnamon, but it has some other flavors going on there too. It's definitely an enjoyable sip also. All right, as far as which one I prefer here, I mean they're both pretty dang even. I will say that the nose on A I prefer, without a doubt. The spice level and the finish on B is stronger than A. Let me pick a favorite on the taste though, and that'll be the deciding factor here. Yeah, A is going to be my favorite on the taste also. So it's got a better nose, better taste. B has more spice, longer finish. But I will say that on the taste on A, I not only get more sweet than I do on B, but I also get more oak. So more sweet, more oak on A, and just a more pleasant taste. And if anything, it's probably more of a bourbon taste, which I love. Clearly, if you're wanting something spicy in a cocktail and all that, though, you don't necessarily want to taste the actual rye. You just want that to spice up a cocktail. B might be better in a cocktail. So let's take a quick look, see what we have. And A is the Rittenhouse, and B is the Old Overholt. So, wow, there you go. So even though I said I'd been sipping on, Old Overholt recently and been getting some sweet on it, definitely getting more sweet on the Rittenhouse. Better nose, better taste. The Old Overholt though is spicier today now. Yeah, and when I've been sipping on this, I mean, I've been sipping on it alongside some bourbons and stuff and all that. So maybe, it just was whatever I happened to be sipping on that day. Maybe I was sipping on some barrel proof bourbons or something, or maybe this was just sitting at just 100 proof. It was hitting sweet or something. One thing I didn't cover, obviously I mentioned that these are bottle and bond rye, straight rye whiskeys. So they are both 100 proof. They're both 4 years old. All of the bottle and bond rules apply here and all that. So appreciate you tuning in. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of these rye whiskeys. If you had them before, if you haven't, what you think of them. Hit that like button and subscribe. Appreciate it. Remember, everybody, all bourbon is whiskey, but all whiskey is not bourbon. The best bourbon comes from Kentucky. And these two ryes do also. Cheers.